What's up, everyone, and welcome to episode 17 of the Infinity Flux letters page.
I'm glad you keep up with the numbers because I lost track around 12.
Well, I had to put it in the title when we scheduled this last time, and I did have to go back and look at the previous issue. So this is, in case you don't know, this is our special live show that we do every other Wednesday, where we just kind of like talk about random comic book stuff. It's kind of like the online version of talking with your buddies at your local comic shop on Wednesdays, New Comic Book Day. And, our other videos are pre-recorded, but these ones, we do it live. We can talk back and forth with chat. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok over there. So, real quick, there is a comment on TikTok asking about asking us to please not cut off next time. I will say that TikTok is weird where after you've gone live for like an hour, it gives you like this puzzle piece. It says, we've detected inactivity. Even though the chat might be popping, it still says you're inactive, and you have to slide this puzzle piece. It's like a captcha almost. You have to slide this puzzle piece to keep it going. But we can't do that because we're in the middle of recording a video, and
usually
the camera's way over there for TikTok. So we can't. So unfortunately, on TikTok, sometimes it just does cut off after like an hour.
But for this video,
we're good. We're good. Yeah. So Jeffrey, how are you doing? What do you think about the hunt for Xavier so far?
I haven't read any of it. You've read.
I've read all of it. It's
the hunt didn't last very long.
Yeah,
they found him pretty quick.
Yeah, they found him pretty quick. I guess that's what happens when you have a bunch of telepaths. But I thought it was interesting. The reason he broke out was interesting, and then they didn't really touch on that for several more parts. And he was going after his helmet, and then he was going after something else. And then I was like, what does all this have to do with each other? But then we got to the most recent part in I don't remember which it wasn't Exceptional X-Men, it's the other one that came out this week.
X Factor, I think.
That was last week.
X-Force.
Yeah, X-Force. That's what it was. And we found out, I don't know, this latest part kind of brought everything together, and I was actually kind of impressed. I don't know if I should be impressed because it's like the bare minimum. Your story should make sense. But once it all like came together, I was like, oh, okay, now that's pretty interesting because I had a theory about who was inside the thing. I'm trying not to spoil it, and I was wrong. So it's all right.
It'll be interesting once the Omega issue comes out to see, like, could you have read like the first part and the last part and get the whole thing?
Yeah.
How much of the in-between stuff did you really need?
Right.
That's true with a lot of things, especially things written by multiple different writers.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see also the outcome of it.
Right. Yeah. What does it mean? Yeah. What does it mean? Where is this going? That kind of thing. But yeah, once it all tied together, I thought it was all right. Jeffrey also wants to know, I bought Babs. Are you talking about Absolute Batman?
No, it's Babs is the.
I didn't know if that was like an accurate shortcut for Absolute Batman.
No, it's the book from is it Ahoy? That's I think Amanda Connor's been doing some of the covers for it. It's not Garth Ennis. I do think 6 is the last issue of it though.
Oh, okay.
That's one we haven't talked about on the show or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one that's coming out.
I've never heard of that before.
It's kind of a Red Sonja style.
Okay, cool. Nurion84, how are you doing? Any advice for someone who wants to open a comic and manga store in the UK? Any good YouTubers to follow or books to invest in?
I have a lot of thoughts about opening comic book stores and stuff. I don't know if I have any like books or YouTubers, just because I didn't open the comic book store, but I've worked in enough of them to kind of know what makes a good store and what makes a bad store. And that's what I could speak to. So the main thing is it's great if you're a comic fan, but being a comic fan does not mean you should open your own comic book store. You really need to have a good business sense first. There's when people talk about, this comic book store, they started one and then it went out of business. Oh, comics. It's like, no, a lot of the time it's the people running it were fans, but they don't really know how to run a business. It's a business. It's a retail business, but it's also a very people business.
Yeah.
The number one thing you can do is take care of your people. because they will forgive a lot if they know you are sincere and you're really working to do the best you can. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is trust with customers. Just because stuff is going up in value and everything, don't gouge your customers. Don't do anything like that.
Yeah, I hate when I see, pictures on Reddit or something of a sign that says, back issues will be priced at the register like that. I will walk out if I ever see that.
Yeah, it's worth not getting top dollar to make sure that everyone who shops with you has a good experience.
Yeah.
That being said, too, make sure your store has a good experience. Make sure that it doesn't feel like you're going into someone's basement. It's bright, it's clean, it's welcoming. Try to keep some of the riffraff out. If people are in there and they're yelling, they're swearing.
Look, I said I would go. Okay, if you want me to go, there's a door right there.
Yeah, a big part of our store is making sure that families feel good coming in here. That we don't look at anybody like, how dare you be in our store?
Yeah.
Welcoming to everybody. Everything that you would want going into a store. That's the important thing. You feel welcoming, and that your friends and family would also feel welcome there.
Yeah. And then to follow up, Nurian says, I'm not much of a collector myself, but and not looking at having a huge back issue section, but I know one would be welcomed in my neck of the woods, but no idea where to start. Well, that's the thing. Is like it's almost like two sources of inventory, right? You got to order the new books, but then you also, ideally, have back issues as well. So it's like two different places from where to get books. And as far as ordering books, you just do that from the distributors. You try to figure out what's the big thing, what is everybody wanting, what is everybody talking about, what's going to sell. That's one piece of it. But then back issues, I don't know, just like trade-ins and things like that.
Even if you say you don't want to deal in back issues, that's fine. You'll end up with back issues, either new releases that haven't sold, or you'll just acquire them if you want to deal in just key issues or something like that. That's up to you to figure out what you want to do with them at that point. I know they said they're in the UK. You've got Diamond UK, and you have some different distributors over there, which I'm not super familiar with how they work. I imagine they keep it pretty similar to how Penguin and Lunar and Diamond do over here. And yeah, I would just reach out about starting an account. They do now. I know. I think Lunar and Penguin require you to have an address. Mm-hmm. You can't just be an individual selling comics. You do have to have a brick and mortar address to be able to start an account with them. I don't think it has to be anything huge. I don't think it has to be anything like that. But you do need that to begin with. And yeah, just give people the best experience they can. If you just want to tackle new books, I say start off with, try to put the word out there. See if anybody wants some subscriptions that you can fulfill.
Yeah, and
simple stuff. Start small.
And I don't know this for sure, but I feel like a big part of it is location. And I don't mean like, where is your store physically, but like, is the area that you're in, is there a market there for comics? Mm-hmm. Are there other comic shops that people are already going to that you'd have to be like competing for customers for? Like, because I know, is it a smaller town that maybe there's not a lot of people who do read comics, or is it like a college town where there's young people who want to get into this stuff but don't have a place to go? Like, there's a lot of different factors I think about, just looking at the area.
Yeah.
I know that it's full of kids and young people, but there's nowhere for them to get comics, so I'm going to jump in there. Or it's a small town with a bunch of retired folks and there's already 7 comic shops, and I don't know. It seems like here, like when I came in today, when the store opened, like it was like you guys are packed.
Yeah,
it was packed today.
It's spring break.
Yeah,
kids are out of school, and it has been nonstop all day for the last 2 days. So.
Yeah, and I love to see it,
mm-hmm.
but I do feel like that where we're at, like there's a big comic community here. It seems like,
and they have options. That's why, again, make it the best store.
Right.
They can shop anywhere. Make sure they want to shop with you.
Yeah, so I think maybe that's what. And again, I don't work here as much as Andy and everybody else does, but that's one thing I would maybe think of is like look at the area first and see, is there a market for this where I'm at, where I want to open it up? That's what I would think.
Yeah.
Jeffrey wants to know what happens if Hush 2 doesn't live up to the hype. For instance, The Last Halloween is awesome, still not as good as The Long Halloween. Might turn around at the end. You know, I don't know. I haven't read. We have a preview copy of the first part of Hush 2. I haven't read it yet because it's only in black and white. I don't want to read it until it's in full color. So I can't tell you. I mean, I'll tell you that Jim Lee still got it.
Yeah.
Like the artwork looks great. There's some other Bat characters in there. So that made me excited enough. But you know, I kind of feel like it's been 20 years, and you know, I feel like maybe this won't be as big as the first Hush, but I'm still sure as heck interested, you know. So I don't know what happens.
I think it goes to like you said with Last Halloween, everything. It's not, if you are comparing 1-to-1, you know, some things are just a lightning out of the blue, like Hush, like Last Halloween, or you know what, or Long Halloween. Yeah. I think if you are going into it comparing one with the other, you're going to be disappointed because one, if you are like some of us who, you know, read Hush when you hadn't read like 1,000 Batman comics, it felt like, wow, this is like the, you know, the art and everything. That's the pinnacle of what Batman looks like. And you're going to have some nostalgia vibes for that. I would go into it thinking, I can't wait to see this Batman story by the same creative team that did Hush, but it's not going to be Hush 1. It's going to be something of its own. When Hush came out, you didn't come into it with those preconceived notions of, you didn't have another Hush to compare it to. Yeah. And with Long Halloween, you didn't have something, you had big books, you had Dark Knight Returns, you had all that, but these were big because they were very unique at the time. You're never going to capture that magic again. So go into it with an open mind and say, like, I'm just in here for a cool Batman story.
And you know, I kind of think about it the way I think about the MCU, and some folks think the MCU is cooled off or whatever. I'm still enjoying the heck out of most of it, but you got to think like we're accustomed to you know, the MCU, and this applies to Hush as well. But like with the MCU, we're accustomed to that stuff now. But back when the Avengers 1 in 2012 first rolled out, it's like, holy cow, I can't believe they actually pulled this off. I can't
believe there's all these characters on screen at the same time.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like this. And they each had their own movie, and now they're coming together, and everybody has their own role to play and their own thing. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
15 years later, it's like, oh, look, it's another Avengers movie. Cool, I guess. Sure, whatever. You know, after Infinity War, Endgame, you're like, oh, look, another Avengers movie. Neat. Cool, whatever.
Yeah, but when the first time you saw Iron Man on screen in his armor, being like, this is a comic book on the screen, modern with the CG technology and everything. That's just the thing. You have to put it in context of, okay, but we've seen that now, and I don't always need them to try and one up it, or compete it against what came before. Just give me a good story. That's all that I feel like we should be going into this with.
Walt wants to know if you sketch for fans, asking for a friend who collects 3x3 art.
3x3 art. That's like Post-it note art.
I was going to say that.
Which I when on the first con I ever did, one of my hot selling things was I think I charged like a couple of bucks, and I drew on Post-it notes whatever people ask, and they ask for crazy stuff. Yeah.
Todd Knock does that a lot, or at least he used to. He posts them on Instagram, and he would draw She-Hulk on a green Post-it note. Like it looks really cool. I like it.
It's a really cool idea, and I do sketches. I do like commissions and everything. To get that kind of stuff, you just contact me on whatever social media thing. I'll do like free sketches if time allows and I just have nothing else to do or whatever, but this is my job, and I do try to, put food on the table because of it.
We do want to do a thing where after every time we record a video, like on Mondays or Wednesdays or Fridays, and we're working on, doing the editing and getting it uploaded, if I'm working on like maybe keying in the information, and you'll be over here like just sketching on the back of our show notes, and over there is a pile of just like random art that Andy has made. And like, I think at some point we want to do like a giveaway or something, because some of it is, all of it is so cool. And it's just like random.
Not all of it's cool.
It's awesome. Like some of it's just like, some of it's more serious stuff, but a lot of it's just kind of like silly in a good way stuff. And it's puns. And it's so cool. And like, there's just this, And Andy, you know, after he's done, he just kind of like tosses it to the side. I'm like, what are you doing? That's amazing art. You know, he's like, whatever.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the difference between an artist and not an artist is I think it's amazing. But, you know, if you can just crank that stuff out whenever, it's probably, I guess. But yeah, so there's lots of original, just right over there. There's a whole stack of original Andy artwork that we should do a giveaway at some point.
Yeah, we have talked about doing a giveaway.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Oh, and Walt is in Clarksville. Yeah, I don't know how far away that is from Chattanooga, but hello. What's your favorite absolute title so far? So Absolute Flash came out today. We've also read Martian Manhunter and Green Lantern, the first issue of those. So out of the 6, it's still Absolute Superman. I love Absolute Superman.
Yeah, now it's going to be hard now that we have this new wave coming in to compare those with the ones that are finishing up their first story arcs. You know, we've got way more of we know more about Absolute Superman and Wonder Woman and Batman. We've seen their world a little bit more. We've only read the first issues of these next ones, so it's I don't know if you can compare the 2 waves of them.
Yeah,
but I would say I still think Absolute Superman is my favorite.
Yes.
Because I do feel like, once again, like we've said, it's kind of the meatiest. It has the most to pontificate about, and it has more secrets and that kind of stuff. And then I think we've mentioned on other shows too, out of the 3 new ones, out of Absolute Flash, Absolute Martian Manhunter, and Absolute Green Lantern, I think we both liked Absolute Green Lantern.
Yeah.
But it's kind of for the same reasons. I feel like it's got a lot of the meat on the bone for like rich storytelling. Martian Manhunter, Absolute Martian Manhunter is awesome, but that one's going to definitely need an issue 2 and 3.
It's trippy
to process what's going on.
Yeah.
And then Absolute Flash that came out today, I think is really cool, but I also think it's definitely has a beginning feel to it.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to get into where he has a suit and
Right.
you know, what is it the first time he throws a punch? Who's it against? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. On TikTok, the Real Shrek wants to know, do you think Invincible and The Boys brought in new comic book fans? I absolutely think so. So on my own live streams on TikToks every Wednesday and Friday night, almost every time somebody asks me if I have Invincible or if I've read Invincible or where they can find Invincible to read because of the show.
Yep.
And so I absolutely think that The Boys...
maybe when it started.
Maybe when it started, probably not as much as Invincible, and it's also, you know, more adult too.
Yeah, the age range of people coming in to ask for that is definitely, you know, it's a smaller demographic, and that it appeals to. I think The Boys, the show is really good. The comic is good, but it does have a darkness to it that doesn't appeal to everybody.
Yeah. Whereas
Invincible does kind of get the crowd of, I like superheroes, I like Spider-Man and Superman, that kind of stuff, and it brings some of that energy.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely Invincible. The compendiums for Invincible fly off the shelves every week.
Yeah, that's what I have, the 3 paperback compendiums, and then also that Invincible Universe trade paperback, which is still meaty but smaller, and it has all the ancillary stuff in it.
Yeah, that's definitely been a big thing that's brought people in.
Plus, they're making, you know, they're reprinting new editions of the trades, not as thick as the compendiums, but like the smaller ones with those bright, colorful covers. They're making it they're doing the right thing. They're making it very easy to read this in alongside the cartoon, you know, which is fantastic.
Very smart marketing. The other thing I would say has brought people in and asking about stuff they've never read comics is Marvel Rivals.
Oh, yeah.
I've had more people. I have worked in comic book stores for over 10 years. I've never had as many people coming in asking for Cloak and Dagger as I have the last few months. Because they're OP in the game. Like, you know, Dagger's healing ability is like the best healing, and the seamless switch between the two. And people come in, and I love it because they come in seeing the roster of characters, and you've got Cloak and Dagger right there next to Wolverine and next to Iron Man. To them, they're all on equal footing. And so they're like, oh, you got Cloak and Dagger? And it's like, let me dig. There hasn't been some Cloak and Dagger in a while. So I put it to Marvel. Put out every character you've got on that roster. Have something that's a good introductory to those characters.
Yeah, put out one of those Marvel Premiere collections, those little $15 digest size things. of all the different Marvel Rivals characters. Just put some collections
Maybe
together.
put some of those Marvel Rivals covers on them that have been so cool.
Holy cow!
So you get that synergy.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah, Walt recommends the Marvel team up with Invincible and Spider-Man. That was I only read that for the first time I think last year when you showed me, because I was like, I really wish I could find this, and you're like, well, it's right here on Marvel Unlimited. I was like, oh, I didn't think it would be.
I just assume it's not because of the licensing issues, but I hope at some point everybody can read that because it's really cool, and I love what the show did. Homaging that, they didn't straight up. They couldn't do Spider-Man and Doc Ock, but they did their own versions.
Man, they got close though. That was so cool, and it was really close to the comic, just with a slightly different skin on it, which I thought was great. So loving the questions, guys. Thank you very much for being here. Luis on TikTok, what's up, man? Says, did you guys purchase a copy of East of West Compendium?
I don't. I have the trades of East of West. I don't have the compendium. Which I mean, that's your Nick Dragotta on art, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know if I got that one or not. That's a good question.
You didn't get it today, at least, because I was the one who rang you out on the register.
Did it come out today?
I'm not sure. I'd have to check in on that.
I don't remember. I don't think I did. And if I didn't, I want to. Or maybe I did. I don't remember.
There's a comment that says they used Spawn in the Invincible comic, but couldn't show. That's a thing I was really hoping in this season. It's like, I mean, it would be harder to get Spider-Man than it would be to get Savage Dragon, Spawn, Ripclaw, some of the ones that did appear in that Bad Rock, some of those. Unfortunately, we didn't get it, but I'm still holding out hope at some point we'll get Savage Dragon showing up in something.
Nah, man, that would be cool. And I feel like Eric Larson would be like, yeah, it's fine. Sure. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. If you want to use him for an episode, use him. That's fine. Yeah, lots of questions.
Thank you for my note on my Bride of Frankenstein piece. I'll have that for sale at C2E2 in Chicago next month.
That's right. Both of us are going to be at C2E2 next month in Chicago. Andy's going to be the star. I'm just going to be like talking to people, while he's like doing cool commissions and stuff. But yeah, if anybody's going to be in Chicago next month, Andy and I and our buddy Alex Ogle, who is also another local artist here, he'll have a separate table, but yeah, we're all going to be there. We would love to meet you guys if you're going to be there. L06
yeah,
is the table number. Yeah,
and I found that out today. Alex is Q06. So I need you to be my for a deep DC character cut, my Funky Flashman. I need you to be out there hawking my stuff, being my Stan Lee.
There. Right. Your Stan Lee knockoff, your Funky Flashman. Yeah. Good evening, Captain Millennium. How you doing, man? What is your guilty pleasure comic? I think mine is Conan.
Nothing to be guilty about Conan. Conan is fantastic. My guilty one is probably I still buy every issue of Savage Dragon because I love Savage Dragon. I get like most excited when Savage Dragon comes out to read it because it's just bonkers every issue. But that's the one that's like, it doesn't sell a ton, but I've been subscribed to it forever and I really like it. Yeah. And it's a book that I wouldn't necessarily open it up and show it to a lot of people because it's very mature over the years.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I would say maybe Spider Boy, although I just recently dropped it. Although, I mean, I feel like guilty pleasure is when you say something is a guilty pleasure, that means you're kind of like you apologetically like it.
You like it, or you're a little like shy to tell people that you like it or read it.
Yeah. I don't have anything like that. I like what I like, and who cares? You know?
Like there's been some runs of Vampirella that I thought were really good. There's stuff that like to your non comic going every Wednesday thing, they may see a book and be like, oh, you read that?
Yeah.
Like the Penthouse comics right now are really good. They're really great, like crime noir stories.
Yeah.
But that's one that I would, I wouldn't say.
You're not going to read it like at a coffee shop or something like that.
Yeah. But no, Conan, nothing. Conan, if we had an entire other show where we just deep dive into things, I think is one of the most important comics to ever be published. Because of what it did, one for Marvel.
It helped. It was one of the books that really kind of helped Marvel get out of the red back in the 70s. And in Star Wars.
What Conan means to every publisher that gets it is like this kind of, you got this gem that is going to boost your sales because Conan is such a fantastic property.
Yeah, Conan, like even the Marvel stuff from the 70s, like it's fantastic. Like as I was reading through some of my omnibuses of that, and I was like, man, why isn't this would make a great HBO Game of Thrones style show with just him going on adventures every episode. Like this is it's like 50 years old, right? And it's still so good.
Some of your best artists came out of there.
Oh my gosh, Barry Windsor Smith and John Buscema, both.
Yeah, go back and read the Frost Giant's Daughter, one of the greatest single issues of comics ever. It's beautiful. Yeah. It's I mean, there's a reason like you had people like Frazetta work on Conan and then become, or like, he dabbled in comics and fine art because that's the level that Conan brought.
And I love reading especially the older Conan books, because Conan, like, he wasn't a good guy. He wasn't a bad guy. He just wandered the land, and whatever situation he found himself in, he just went along with it. And I think, I don't remember which issues or what the storyline was, but he wound up with this group of people fighting against another group of people. But as the story progressed, he eventually wound up with the other group of people fighting against the other, and it's like, whatever, I'm just going with the flow. Like Conan is like super chill, even though he's like a mad barbarian. Chill. He's like so chill, I
also think about reading Conan comics, like how much I love the Charles Soule Darth Vader. You don't think anything's gonna happen to him. He's gonna make it on the end. You just want to see what he does while he's there. He's gonna mess stuff up. And
I want to see him. I want to see him force choke somebody. Yeah, for sure. Gru the Wanderer. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, those Conan books, man. Like those. And I actually haven't read too many of the newer I know Marvel doesn't have the license anymore, but when they did, I didn't read a lot of that stuff.
It's good that Jason Aaron, your Bug Wars team, Jason Aaron and Asrar. Was really good.
Well, that makes me reading Bug Wars with that team makes me want to go back and read their Conan. And shoot, I guess it's not on Marvel Unlimited now because
the tough thing about when Conan is at Marvel is Conan needs to be a little bit more brutal than what Marvel is willing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, if they still had it, man, a Red Band Conan book is what that thing is for. But Conan. All that to say, fantastic character, super important.
Yeah.
Don't feel guilty about Conan. Pick something guiltier.
Right. Yeah. Johnny B on Instagram. Look forward to watching this tomorrow on the way to work. Bug Wars was dope. I agree. Issue 2 came out this week.
Issue 2 came out this week. I loved issue 1. I think issue 2 is even better because you really get into the nitty gritty of the.
It starts to build the world with the blood hole and the gladiatorial pit and all that stuff. Introduces a couple more characters, a couple more factions.
There's a scene where your main character, I really like the beginning where he shrunk in the end of the first issue, but he unshrinks, but then reshrinks, and what that would do to you, he just loses his lunch because it happens so much.
And about Conan, there was a Sumerian book. That was called the Sumerian, right?
Yeah, they didn't have the rights to put Conan on the cover, but that was. It was one of the smaller publishers. It was like I think it was maybe a Blaze.
I think it was a Blaze. I think it was.
That is also fantastic. It is closer. It was more adaptations of the Robert E. Howard stories.
Yeah.
Those are really good, and those also had really good art. They felt more like a European comic because you had way more panels per page. But yes, highly recommend if you can get those hardcovers. Those are really good.
I need to try to grab those. Question on TikTok: what's your favorite variants this week? Mine is the absolute Batman with the sky blue background. Mine has to be Batman and Superman going to Flavortown with Guy Fieri, right?
Yeah, they're rolling in.
Yeah,
Batman's drinking some weird green drink. Yeah. Superman's got a big hamburger. Man, great variant. Plus, it's Dan Mora.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Dan Mora.
I don't know what variants did they even buy today.
Well, so I got the Flash #1, the foil Virgin variant, which is this cover except no trade dress and also foil. I mean, that looks pretty sharp. There's so many, and I usually just get like A covers for most of the time.
I bought the Terry Dodson Zatanna variant. If the Zatanna's on a cover, I'll probably buy it. And so I have this. I have the David Nakayama cover that came out. I'm a sucker for one Terry Dodson, but also Zatanna.
I did get the Crisis on Infinite Earths number 12 facsimile edition, the foil cover, and also the Superpowers figure cover with Earth 2 Superman. Yeah, that foil. Yep. Did you get all the foils for those?
Yep, I have the whole set.
Yeah, I got the whole set.
The last issue, so it's,
that's right. Yeah, I got the whole set in foil.
I also got the foil of Batman 613.
I've not been buying those because I have, I've got Hush in hardcover, but I also have Crisis in hardcover, and I've been buying those, so I don't know.
With Crisis, I'm going to reread the whole thing
with
those. I think that'd be really fun.
I've been reading through the tie-ins too, and they don't have all that much of an effect on the main story. It's just like, oh, weird, the skies are red. Anyway, let's go do this thing now. So let's see what else have we got over here. On Instagram, Johnny B wants to know, Andy, what's your favorite Aquaman run? I started New 52 and kind of got bored after issue 30.
I do agree. I love Jeff Johns' Aquaman run. I think maybe my favorite comic of all time is issue 1 because Jeff Johns addresses every issue people have with Aquaman about talking to fish, about what can he do on land. All of that is addressed. So I think that is fantastic. I do think that run does start wavering a little bit into it, but I think that's because of kind of the New 52 of it.
Yeah.
Once Ivan Rice was off the book, I did like Paul Peltier on there. I did like some of the other artists. I love
Paul Peltier. I wish he was.
But I do feel like it started to have crossovers with stuff. I would have liked for it to kept with like the Trench story. It immediately had a crossover with Justice League that wasn't great. But yeah, that first part
was the one they made the animated movie out of? I think it was,
right? I think it is. Yeah. That was Drowned Earth or whatever it's called. I think my favorite Aquaman is the Sub Diego story. That
I love Paul Peltier.
Yeah,
love him.
Sub Diego, that was like a 2000s.
Yeah. Going back to what we've said before numerous times, that the 2000s, from 2000 to like 2010, a fantastic era for both Marvel and DC, possibly the best decade for both of them ever. I'm not willing to commit to that yet, but very close.
I need to see every book that came out. But yeah, Sub Diego is when San Diego, something happens and it falls into the ocean, only to discover that the people of San Diego can breathe underwater. And why does that happen? And Aquaman has to be the liaison between Sub Diego and the surface world. Patrick Gleason, that's some early Patrick Gleason artwork, that's just fantastic. It's kind of around the Aquaman Water Hand time.
Yes.
Which I actually really like. I know some people don't love it with the Lady of the Lake and all of that.
Now, that's way after what's inside that Aquaman by Peter David.
Yeah, Peter David, that was like a 90s run, which I love.
That's right, because he was the hook.
I love hook-handed Aquaman. You've got Eric Larson working in that. You've got a lot of really good stuff in that, which is a great long run. But if you're looking for like modern Aquaman, Sub Diego, I think it's collected in like 2 trades.
What's up, man? Oh, Jeffrey wants to know real quick. I do want to address this too. After Hush 2, does Batman restart? Yes. So Hush 2 is going to be 6 parts. So what is that? 58, 59, 60, 61, 62. So Batman 163, I guess, will be the last issue of the current run. And then it restarts with a new, not reboot, but it restarts with a new number 1. Matt Fraction is the writer. Jorge Jimenez is the artist.
Batman's got his new suit.
Yeah, Batman's got a new suit, which isn't super duper new, but it's more blue and gray with a new bat symbol. They said there's a new Batmobile, although we haven't seen that yet. But yeah, it is going to, again, not reboot, but just start over with a new number 1. I don't love that. I wish it weren't. I wish it were just continuing with the numbering, but that's the thing. That's just how
you brought it up because we got news today of the new Fantastic Four number 1, but it's by the same writer, but Humberto Ramos is coming on to art. As being a modern comic reader, it is something you just have to bite your lip and go along with it. Is the new number 1 thing. It's sad we don't get those runs that are in the hundreds.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Savage Dragon, Spawn, they kind of kept that going. But if you want to read comics, you're going to have to deal with a number one more often than maybe it should happen.
Yeah, will they keep legacy numbers for the new Batman? I don't know. Probably.
I have good faith in DC that they may have a legacy number on there. We don't know for sure, but it does kind of feel like a thing that I don't think they would be opposed to doing.
Yeah, I hope so. But yeah, that's just, as much as I don't love it, that's just kind of how, it's one of those things where that's just how it is now. You know, you just kind of have to deal with it. You know, just got to keep. What I do wish though is when they do new number ones, I wish they would like kind of maybe big enough to where you can see it underneath the number. I wish they would put volume 6, volume 7, like make it blatantly obvious which run you're reading. I think that would make it a little bit easier, because then you say, oh, read volume 7, number 1. They say, okay, cool. There's volume 7 right there.
I wonder if they just feel people are going to be like, well, do I need to go back and read volume 1?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's,
you know, there's really no great answer for new number ones against not new number ones.
Yeah. The only exception, how many Amazing Spider-Man number ones exist? And there's a question on TikTok. Do you think the next run of Spider-Man will be good? So it's no secret that we're not super big fans of the current run of Amazing Spider-Man, and I feel like this is the one time I'm okay with them restarting with a new number one, because
I need a fresh start.
I need to just wash my hands of this current run and start new. To answer your question on TikTok, I'm hopeful. I mean, based on the 4 preview pages that they've released, visually it looks great. Visually, that's the Spider-Man I want. We know a little bit what the story is. We just recorded our comics to pre-order in a Flash video where we talked about Amazing Spider-Man number 2, which is on FOC this weekend, even though number 1's not out yet. And they did talk about whatever it is that has powered up Rhino has also powered up Spider-Man, and now he's trying to stay in control and that kind of thing. That sounds all right. I don't usually love stories, and this isn't Spider-Man specific. This is, even since I was a kid, I've never really loved stories where heroes lose their powers. Absolute Power was an exception. I really like that one. But I've never really loved stories where heroes lose their powers or their powers are on the fritz or something like that. I just want superheroes to be superheroes and do the thing that they're able to do.
It felt like we did recently get that story where Spider-Man's spider sense was on overdrive.
Yeah.
And he was like too aware of stuff, and he couldn't, like, he had to learn to silence it.
Yeah.
So to break down the new Amazing Spider-Man number 1, what I do and I don't like about it. Art, yes, I'm not a huge John Romita Jr. fan, especially like recent stuff. He's got some good covers, that kind of stuff, but sometimes I'm not a huge fan of it. We'll have to see. It could be great in this new one, but we do know it's going to be going between Jimenez and
Pepe Larraz and Romita Jr.
Romita Jr. I guess my biggest problem with that is they have vastly different styles. I don't want it to be jarring between the two.
If it were like a hard line in the sand, Larraz does one story arc, Romita Jr. does a full story arc, I would be okay with that. But it's when it's in the middle of the story that kind of messes me up a little bit.
I'm really hoping to get some Romita Jr. art like the Spider-Man art during the Straczynski era. When he was doing it there, I feel like it had a little bit more energy to it. I don't love, I think it talks about Norman Osborn's like, now that he's not a goblin, what's he up to?
Yeah.
I don't really care.
I don't care. I want to see him being up to being a goblin. That's what I want,
Now, all this could be great. I could read it and be like, man, Norman is the best character. He should never be a goblin again. I don't know. Just from what I've heard, I don't necessarily love the idea of powers overly fluctuating, especially like, I don't need Spider-Man to. If you want to do it with the villains, and then he has to learn to, what do I do with that?
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, Rhino looks really cool.
Yeah.
Those preview pages look really cool. So I'm good with that. But it's one of those, like, I'm gonna withhold judgment until I read it. But I do hope that we get less Spider-Verse. I don't want multiple Spider-Man, all this. I do need a little bit back to basics with him swinging through the city fighting criminals.
Yeah, and we've talked about that before. I don't remember when the last time is that we saw, especially in the pages of Amazing Spider-Man, when's the last time we saw him swinging around in the city? I mean, it's been forever. I mean, and because he's dealing with all the magic stuff right now, but even before that, I just don't even remember when he's for so long
patrolling.
For so long he's been on the ground getting punched in the face by a tombstone. It's like, give me Spider, put him in the air, Yeah. Easy reader. I love that you're reading New Gods. It looks like Highfather is finally going to leave the sidelines of New Gods. Holy cow.
Yeah.
This week's issue of New Gods is phenomenal. Our favorite of the series so far. I'm loving this. This feels all. It's only 4 issues in. It already feels like a big epic story.
Yeah.
I'm not buying the single issues because I really want this in oversized hardcover. I feel like this is that kind of story. But today's issue, oh my gosh, the artwork, the action. Shadowfall is my new favorite character with her weird kind of bow and arrow thing. It's not a bow and arrow, but it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Just oh my gosh, like.
I've been buying each issue of it, and I originally wasn't planning on it because I like the New Gods characters. I really like Mr. Miracle, but I'd never really been attached to any run of New Gods where I felt like I need to get it. And I read the first issue of this one, and I was like, I'm probably going to get this series. And I've gotten every issue so far, and I don't regret it because I think this is great. And I hope this version of the New Gods also feels like it gels with the DC universe as a whole. So I would like to see those characters now interact a little bit more.
I love Ron V's work, so I'm waiting for a New Gods collection too. Yeah, and when I heard that Ron V was writing it, I was a little bit nervous because his stuff sometimes tends to go over my head a little bit.
Detective was
his detective got a little bit long in the tooth, but so far I'm hanging on. I'm understanding it, and the art Evan Cagle. Put him on more stuff when this is done because holy cow.
I think you could do a really cool Batman because he has a lot of really cool perspectives and stuff like that.
I think you do maybe I think you do a cool Green Lantern.
Yeah.
With the way, especially after the stuff that we saw in today's issue, imagine that kind of imagery, but with constructs and stuff like that. Whew. Easy Reader, I'm a big Barda fan. Yeah, she has some great moments. Oh my gosh. It's so good. Walt says Ultimate Spider-Man is the best current Spider-Man. I agree 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
That's my favorite Marvel book.
Especially the 2-part Craven story. I mean, that one is fantastic. Yeah. Some of the best books that came out all year is those Craven issues. So yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man, fantastic. And I'm really looking forward to the future of that. And we know we're getting that Ultimate Incursion coming up, which it'll be cool to see this Peter Parker who is not, hasn't really interacted with anybody else. What's so cool in the Craven thing is how he kind of takes control, where he with Harry there and everything, he's really a leader. I want to see now, okay, you put Black Panther, you put the X-Men characters and stuff in there. I want to see if he takes on that leadership role as well. Yeah,
because that's the thing is a lot of times when Spider-Man is in a big event, he feels kind of it almost feels like he's a little bit starstruck when he's there with Black Panther or Reed Richards or something. But every time he's in I think about him in Zdarsky's Daredevil, where Zdarsky wrote Daredevil saying Spider-Man is the best of all of us, and that and there was an issue where Spider-Man was fighting the Fantastic Four, and Reed Richards was like, "Wow, I cannot believe he's as fast as he is," and that kind of thing. Spider-Man could stand toe to toe with pretty much anybody, and I want to see that. I don't want Spider-Man to be like, "Oh gosh, hello, Mr. Black Panther, hello, Mr. Iron Man." I want him to be like, "Hey, I'm freaking Spider-Man. I can take any of you on."
Especially this one now that he's been older and it's already has his life in order and stuff. I feel like sometimes people ride him as because he's not a heavy hitter. He's not, he's not Thor. He doesn't, he can't punch down a helicarrier in one hit, but he does. He's fast and he's smart and everything, and that's. I feel like I think of it like video games. They like, oh, he's like a support character. So it's he's not. He's actually he's a DPS.
He should be top tier. Yeah. And so there's a story. There's a book called Ultimate Incursion that sees Miles Morales, who originally was in Earth 1610, the original Ultimate Universe, who now lives in Earth 616 and has done so for the last 10 years. He is actually going somehow, I don't know how, but he's going to find himself in the new Ultimate Universe with the new Peter Parker and Peter's son, Richard, who is wearing the Pico's, not the symbiote, but the Picotech. So yeah, Miles is going to find himself over in the new Ultimate Universe, which is cool because he came from the old Ultimate Universe. But we don't really know the story around that yet. That's not till later on this year.
So there was the moment in Ultimate Cataclysm. What is that? The one that started off?
Oh, Ultimate Invasion.
Ultimate Invasion.
When he got this card from the Maker.
Well, the Maker came to his house and was basically like, "Hey, you've got this card if you ever want to visit."
Yeah,
and I think that's going to play off that.
Was it us? Was it you that we were talking about? I don't think we're ever going to see that card again. Or maybe somebody said it on TikTok or something. But somebody said like, "Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to see that card again." And then whatever that card is, that's how he gets over there. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but
and it's going to be interesting because it's the Maker who gave him that, and to Miles, he doesn't really know the Maker.
Yeah.
To him, maybe it's just Reed Richards.
Yeah, because Miles, they came from the same universe. Yeah. They're the only two left. Well, I guess not. If you have like Jimmy Hallett over in the TV.
Yeah, something. I think he's a little bit different.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's going to be a cool story. I just don't know. It doesn't come out till, I want to say, closer to the back end of summer, maybe even fall. So it's still a ways away.
It hasn't been solicited yet or anything.
Yeah. Well, it's not even in the summer. It's further than the summer. Like I said, maybe it's end of the summer, early fall.
After Free Comic Book Day, after all of that. Yeah. Maybe we'll get a hint of it in the Marvel Free Comic Book Day book that has some of the Ultimate stuff in it. Yeah. That would be really cool.
I like Barry's comment. I'm so used to watching guys at double speed. You talk so slow now. I'm sorry, Barry. Well, I hope you enjoyed. Maybe this is helping out a little bit better. Maybe we can just talk a little bit faster. Yeah, no, I get it. I watch some videos at 1.5 speed, which is funny. It's weird how our attention spans are so like. Hurry up and say your thing.
Like when I'm watching your videos, I just scrub to the end.
Right, that's what I do too with my own.
Really fast.
After One World Under Doom, yes, I think because
that is an interesting thing because One World Under Doom will last for basically the rest of the year.
Well, a good part of it, I think it's going to wrap up in like September, October.
Yeah,
but yeah, most of this year is going to be One World Under Doom, or at least the status quo. That's going to be a big chunk of this year for sure. So yeah, maybe it is a result of One World Under Doom. I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm very excited about it because it does feel like we're getting closer to the Ultimate Universe. It's like, we're out of the training wheels. The training wheels are off. We're getting into the meat of this.
Yeah. So Easy Reader, you can actually go to. Let me show you present, and should have had this ready to go before. Whoops. You can actually go to freecomicbookday.com and click comics at the top right there. It's not showing the cursor. But yeah, it lists everything except for, I don't think this isn't Lunar stuff, right?
It doesn't have the DC stuff on there.
Well, there's Energon Universe. But right.
There's an image, but it's not DC.
Right. There's no DC stuff on here yet, but you can go here to see most of the books that are coming out on Free Comic Book Day. They have the gold, the silver tier. That doesn't seem like. I guess that's right.
Yeah, there's more than that.
Yeah. These are like the big chunk.
There's
of
a gold, there's silver tier, and then there's also another tier that's like all the rest.
Yeah.
I'm right there. Gold tier.
That's
I
right.
got upgraded
Boom.
last year. I was silver tier. Now I'm gold tier.
So everybody on Free Comic Book Day, which is on May 3rd, be sure to get this book right here because this guy right here worked on it. Although, where's your name?
Because it's Diamond got the names
wrong. Why does it say art and cover by Leo Sino? I'm going to throw hands.
Because that is the creative team for the other Dark Horse book. Because someone asked me, hey, are you working on a Black Hammer title? And I said, no. And they said, oh, you're listed. So if you go to the other Dark Horse book that has a Black Hammer story in it, I'm listed on that one. So that's silly.
Maybe they didn't mess up. Maybe you got confused and you've been working on the wrong book this whole time.
I'm going to have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, you're going to have to play catch up. But yeah, freecomicbookday.com will show you a big chunk of it. Like I said, the DC books aren't there, but most of them are. Andy's name is on the cover.
Yeah, because the image is correct. The text from the website is wrong.
Yeah.
But also, don't forget, we do a big... one of our biggest shows of the year is where we read all the books. We read all the Free Comic Book Day books, and we tell you about them, why you should go to your store and pick up each one of them. Some we definitely cover more than others because there's so much for all different ages. So, yeah.
Do you want to work on a Black Hammer comic?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be cool,
I
right?
love Jeff Lemire. I love Black Hammer, especially Volume 1, and I loved Charlotte Frankenstein. Those were my two favorite Black Hammer books.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, look, I'm out here. I'll work on whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not picky.
Andy's a simple man.
I'm a simple man. There's a reason it's called starving artist. We're starving for this work.
All right, guys. Well, I guess we're gonna have to wrap it up there. It's a little after 7. The store's closing up, and yeah, but this has been awesome. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram. Wait, I lost Instagram. Hold on. There we go. Yeah. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. We have such a blast doing this, talking to you guys, because again, most of our videos are pre-recorded. We don't get to interact with you guys, and we just, we love answering questions and getting opinions, what you guys think about comics and the stuff that's coming out and things like that. So yeah, very, very fun stuff. So this show is bi-weekly. So our next one will, Our next one will, well, I'm trying to get the calendar up. This isn't, there we go. Our next one will be on April 2nd. That will be Amazing Spider-Man Day, right? Or is that on the 9th?
Oh, we're getting close to it. I don't remember for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have some big stuff to talk about that day too. Plus, we're just getting so many announcements about cool stuff, and that's only going to be increasing as we get closer to the summer.
Yeah, convention season, that kind of thing.
We're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about. We may even have some special episodes. I know we've done some special con episodes in the past for big announcements and what we think about them. So let us know if there's any, like, in particular things you want us to cover coming up. We're going to try to do some C2E2 content if we can find some time while we're there. That would be awesome.
It's going to be just me recording you doing commissions.
You know what? If that's what it has to be, that's what it's got to be.
Yeah, that'll be fun to talk about, though, when we get back.
Yeah.
We can talk about our experience there. Yeah, take some video, all kinds of stuff.
That time you went up to Dan Moore and you're like, I'm such a fan. And then you've got a restraining order.
Yeah, security had to carry me away. Yeah. I'm like, no, but I want to party with you.
Make sure everybody, if you're watching, to subscribe. We are still so close to 4,000 subscribers. If you love comics at all, subscribe. Yeah, we're 54 followers or subscribers away from 4,000. Help catch us in 4K by subscribing. What? Yeah, so that would be awesome. On YouTube, we're on other platforms. Follow us on whatever platform you're watching this on. Follow us there. Yeah. Whatever platform you're not watching us on, go to those platforms and follow us there too. Yeah, we really appreciate it. We do this because we love comics. We take time out of our day to make these videos, not because we're getting paid to do this or anything. We do it because we love comics and we want to share that with you. If there's any knowledge we have that we can impart to you to make you more excited and better informed and all of that, that's what we're here to do. So thanks if you've already subscribed and everything, thanks for being a part of that. We really appreciate it. And we will continue to bring the best stuff we can, interact with you the best we can, and share our love of the comic bookery. Yeah, so we will have a video out on Friday, our Comics from the Future video, talking about a big bunch of the best books that you can pre-order this weekend. Megan and Jason will be live on Sunday with their Sunday showcase, showing you a whole bunch of cool collections and stuff that they've got in that's for sale on the website. Then we'll have another video on Monday previewing next week's books, and then it just keeps cycling that way. There's never a dearth of content on this channel. So we're out of here for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And until next time, we'll see you guys later. Bye. Bye-bye.